So that's the kind of damage we've been seeing as far as the towns are concerned, such as Ladysmith. The destruction of the crops by heavy rains in some parts of the country are very likely going to trigger food price increases. Now, of course, not right now. We're going to feel that effect later in the year. That's according to the South African Farmers Development Association. The prices of crops like tomatoes and potatoes have already skyrocketed. So how much worse is it going to get? Anything we can do? Well, let's speak to Dr. Siyabonga Madlala from the South African Farmers Development Association. There you are, Doctor. Good morning to you, joining us from what I'm sure is a beautiful Belito this morning. Just how devastating has the damage been? We'll talk about what we're expecting price-wise later, but what's your understanding, Doctor, about how bad the damage is for farmers specifically?
Morning, Gareth, and thanks for having me. It is a difficult one, Gareth, because complaining about rain is also not easy for a farmer. Rain is always welcome because it's a better crisis to handle than handling a drought. So what we've got is a situation where we can't blame God for the rain, but farmers are now having to battle their way back into the fields. Challenges are with infrastructure damage. You can see that the roads have been badly affected. Farmers can't even get into their fields. There's also leaching of fertilizers and herbicides. We're going to have to come back again and put those. But the biggest challenge also is that some of the fields have actually overgrown us, especially in the grain sector. We can't even put our herbicides now because it's overgrown. The tractors can't drive in. It's wet in the fields, so we're coming in too late to put the herbicides, also to put fertilizers. But yeah, it's a difficult one to comment on.
Before we get to the cost of the damage then, what is the sort of timeline, Doctor, where we're expecting where farmers are able to access their fields, they are able to put fertilizer down? Is it too late in the harvesting season? I'm not very au fait with the farming technique, so where in the timeline are we before we can get back to normal?
Different crops got different timelines. The sugar sector, for instance, is very forgiving. I must say that though we are needing to top up some fertilizers, but sugarcane is very forgiving. It actually loves the rain. So it's looking lush green, it's looking beautiful, but we do see that there is some elements where late application of fertilizer is done that requires some further fertilizing. We still have enough time. This time of the year, we are still applying fertilizers. In the grain sector in particular, where perhaps one of my other operations are involved, we battled, we only got in now 3 to 4 weeks late with herbicide application. It definitely will have an impact on our yields. We still haven't put our top up fertilizers, but indeed the crop is not looking as exciting as one would have loved to see it. The rain actually would have loved the fertilizer, but unfortunately we hadn't even applied herbicides when the rain hit us. But then again, this hail and storm came with lightnings, which affected some of our farmers with killing of our livestock, which is one of the difficulties, which the pains that come with it.
And there's going to be many pains that come with it as far as prices are concerned as well. Doctor, last question to you. Can we talk money for a moment? What sector are you expecting to be the hardest hit that consumers are going to have to pick up the price on? What are you expecting? What's the worst case scenario?
Without being specific, because I'm really not a very good economist myself, but I can tell you there's going to be a heavy impact on the vegetable sector. Grain sector is also heavily affected. There is a spiral or downward, call it a multiple effect, because then livestock is going to be also affected, because once the grain is affected, then your feed goes expensive. We've already seen that prices are going high because of the hike in inputs. Fertilizers has doubled. We've seen diesel has gone up. So it's going to be a difficult one for consumers this year, because the rain just came as another, it came on top of many other attacking fronts. So,
Doctor, let me ask you, sorry, forgive me for coming in. I need to just ask you this last question before I let you go. What's government's involvement here? Is there a call to government to assist at all from you and your members?
Yes, indeed. As early as last week, we've had a session with the MEC, Provincial Agriculture, and the whole department to put together the stats. There has been calls from government to actually bring to the fore what is the extent of the damage. We have seen government coming through in the past after the impact of the unrest. We are expecting something now, but it's just that sometimes it comes too little too late. But we are hopeful that there will be some intervention coming through, because it is a disaster. Without government intervention, it's going to be hard for a farmer to get back, especially on infrastructure damage. No one is ready for the damage on the roads into farms. I mean, if you think about it now, the mills will be opening in February, March. How will farmers access their cane fields? It's going to be a difficult one. Even on grain, like I've indicated, some of these farms, we can't even get in to put fertilizers and herbicides.
Yeah.
So road infrastructure, we do need government intervention, but also top up on inputs, so that at least it eases up the pain for a farmer going back into the field.
We're going to keep a very close eye on this, but I appreciate the very latest from the coal face, if you will, the farm fields, if you prefer that turn of phrase as well. So Dr. Siyabonga Madlala from the South African Farmers Development Association, who's joining us. So it's that knock-on effect, not now, but come maybe May, June of this year, when those yields start coming out. We're going to start seeing potatoes, rice, grain. Sugar seems to be okay, it seems. But we are going to see a jump in prices later in the year.